Welcome to the Depot Sports Chat. I'm Rubenstein here with Ed Owens, and it is finally game week. WVU Alabama kickoff 3:30 p.m. Saturday in Atlanta. First, the news coming out of the first week of classes. Ickey Banks suspended 3 games for academic issues. How big of a blow is this to WVU secondary?
I don't really think it's that big of a deal for them. You could see at the end of camp they were preparing for this. There were some rumblings that there may be some academic issues for Banks in the works, and it seemed like WVU was really kind of bracing themselves for not having him for an extended period of time. He's going to miss the non-conference schedule, so he's going to miss Alabama, he'll miss Towson, and he'll miss Maryland. But it sounds like they have a pretty good plan between Travis Bell and Terrell Chestnut. Those are 2 guys who are taking all the reps at the end of camp. They feel very comfortable with both those guys. They both have starting experience. So yeah, it hurts to lose a guy, especially a guy like Banks, who was one of 3, along with Brandon Golson and Carl Joseph, to start every game for WVU's defense last season. That's obviously going to hurt, losing that experience factor against a team like Bama. But I think they have some replacements in place who can help fill in the gaps.
Okay, that's interesting. When you look at the game bigger picture-wise, Alabama's number 2, and an interesting fact that we came across, WVU's winless all-time against number 1, number 2 ranked opponents. And so when you look at this game, WVU's a big underdog. But do they need to win this to be successful coming out of week 1? Going into this, what does West Virginia need to do to feel good about itself?
Absolutely not. They do not need to win this game to be able to come out of Atlanta thinking that they had a successful outing. I think a lot of people know that the deck is stacked against WVU. Alabama's a preseason number 2 team. There are a lot of expectations on them. WVU is ranked 8th in the Big 12 conference. So, I mean, when you look at it from the outside, no one really has those expectations. If WVU can come out and execute and feel good about what they're able to do, I mean, no one wants to see a blowout. I think that would be pretty devastating for them. But if they can go in and hang, even if they hang early, Alabama's going to have the depth. I think WVU's going to get worn down as this game goes on. But if they can hang early and really make a good showing early, I think they at least will have positives to build on heading out of it.
There are a lot of interesting dynamics, kind of behind the scenes storylines. I'm interested what you think the most prominent or most intriguing one is in your eyes when you got Nick Saban, the West Virginian, going up against WVU. But when you look at this, what are some of the interesting storylines?
Yeah, you mentioned it right there. Nick Saban on Monday morning, he was on his personal conference call. He was talking about growing up and going to the old Mountaineer Fieldhouse. He was saying he'd sit up in the upper decks and watch Jerry West play basketball. He was talking about listening to the national championship game on his transistor radio, and I mean, he described it kind of lovingly. It was interesting to see Nick Saban have that kind of warmth, referencing some things, especially of an upcoming opponent. I don't think too many SEC teams get the same treatment from Nick Saban, so I think that's definitely interesting. And you also have to look at the dynamic between Saban and a guy like Dana Holgorsen. It was around this time last year where the hot topic was pace of play, and a lot of SEC teams were griping about that up-tempo, fast pace, and one of the guys who was a little outspoken about it was Dana, who basically told him, get over it. This is the direction that college football's headed. Get on board or get left behind. I think that no one's really going to have forgotten that both sides were taking those different perspectives, and it should be interesting to see how that plays out this year.
They're going into this opener. Dana Holgorsen changed things from previous years about how he kind of took the last 2 weeks leading into the opener. What changes were made, and how much will it really factor once Saturday kicks off?
Yeah, at the end of camp, Dana was talking about how last year they really went hard. The 1 week that they had following the end of camp and before really that first week of game prep, they went hard, they hit a lot, they really overworked them in practice, and Dana said he thought you could see it in their season opener last year that the guys were worn down, they were a little beat up. So what they did this year was they treated this past week as a game week. They kind of followed the same schedule. They tried to get guys ready, get guys comfortable, and they followed it up with a little bit of a scrimmage on Saturday then to simulate a game situation. Asked about it on the Big 12 call, Dana said that he feels like it went pretty well. He didn't go too far in depth, but he did say he thought the team's going to be able to benefit from it, that they're going to have that experience in their back pocket. They've already gone through a game week, so heading into this Chick-fil-A kickoff game, the team knows what to expect.
That's interesting. It should be a fun one, obviously. West Virginia needs to make a statement, and when you were talking about the coaching dynamics, Miss Terry Saban said that Nick wants to put on a show for the West Virginia folks, so it should be a fun one in Atlanta. Ed, appreciate your time once again, and we'll be back with more from Atlanta with the Kickoff Classic. Thanks for watching.